interacting on YouTube in the playground. I have been known to metaphor YouTube as a playground with a school within it, where the pupils play in the playground, go into lessons, into class whenever they choose. It being that sort of school. And in the playground that YouTube is, to me, though it isn't, it's a web site, a program where videos are stored, vlogs are made, recorded, collated, channels are existent, whereby each can have its own space as such that one controls to one's own likings. Interacting in the wider community, the YouTube community they like to call it in polite society. Those of us who culturally maligned see it in many ways. Some see it as a battlefield. Some see it as a cesspit of abusers and abuse. And my thirst is to say reflectiveness. It's reflective, though and it is not so simple as that, though it is, as always, it is not. I am not, I am not, I am not. Eventually, professedly vocabularized in a way that many do not comprehend or even understand a little, maybe, perhaps. I don't know, I do know what I mean with the words I speak. Am I living them? Currently, I am considering the words I utilize, I use, I verbalize, I speak, I vibrate with my speech comes from here, you know. People think your vocal cords are here, that actually speech, it actually resonates here. Heart, isn't it? That's the heart chakra, just Chakrians. Interacting on YouTube, in the wider YouTube community, the playground where the school exists. It's always open. One can always return to lessons and learn. Learning implies knowledge and information. There is knowing, there is understanding, there is considerations to be made. Actually, we don't exist as an island, entire of ourselves. We are interlinked, that there is no doubt. We are on a planet that revolves while it spins, or spins whilst it revolves, at least. And then there's the other wider cycle to consider, apparently. Interacting on YouTube, I do find interaction on YouTube, sort of stumble across it, like I do in most, I stumble, I might fall, I get up, I stand, I face the consequences accumulated. I have no choice, none of us actually have. Though we do like to tell ourselves, choice is free. Look at the word free and the consequential outflows of any willed choice made it cannot actually be definitively stated as free as such, and so free. Interacting on YouTube, I find interacting on YouTube that there's this tendency to play dumb, act dumb. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. And there are possibly many reasons for this. Some like to play the cult of snap, try to get people to react. I've considered it myself. It has its uses, perhaps, maybe, possibly, though being responsible for myself and that which I participate within and as, I decided, no, I shall not play the cult of snap. I shan't expound how the cult of snap operates. Those within and as it, and many are and don't know even, that is where they preside. So the propensity, perhaps, or is it myself that I am seeing, is to act dumb. I don't act dumb. I don't act at all. I'm not an actor. You can't practice freedom, I said to George Bush once, when he was acting as leader of some nation on this planet, a nation stolen from its indigenous nations, decided to take the lead at, to be in charge, to be a dominating presence in, from the Latin to command, from before to sit, presedere, I can't say it in Latin, I'm not a Roman, from pre, before, sedere, to sit, from the 17th century, so there was no presiding before the 17th century. How could there be? There wasn't a word to expand it. I think Julius Caesar might disagree, though that's for Julius to ponder, isn't it? Maybe Brutus can assist him understanding that he could not possibly have been what he believed himself to be, being that he ceased to exist personality, in that personality prior to the word preside existing. Interacting on YouTube, so there's the propensity, I like that word, I'm not too sure I'll continue using it though, because it's a very droll, I find pen. I always get confused, is it S-I-T-Y or C-I-T-Y? Looking at that, I'd say it's going to be a C, not an S. The propensity to act dumb. No propensity. So is there a propensity? Machine slaughtered. Yes, there is a propensity. 16th century Latin propensus, hanging forward from propendere, propensum, to be inclined, a tendency or inclination. So there is a propensity, an inclination, a tendency to act dumb, or am I interpreting it as such? And the people I believe or assume are acting with a tendency, an inclination to act dumb, are actually dumb. It's possible. It's very, anything's possible actually, infinite possibility. It's, I wouldn't consider it, because it is actual, infinite possibility. So, it was possible to infinitely possibly. Consider possibilities infinitely, and what will do? Then what will you do besides infinitely considering possibilities infinitely? You will be possibly considering possibilities infinitely. You won't have time for anything else. And that's that, as far as I'm concerned. Infinite possibilities. So there's a propensity, possibly, to act dumb, or a possibility that they are dumb. There's also this hiding, hiding the real reason behind why I am doing what I am doing. I'm doing it for a purpose, though the purpose that appears in front of you purposefully from me is not the actual purpose. My purpose is to jog. I should jog eventually. I've got a bike though, also I prefer to bike ride. Jog people into realizations, perhaps, because self-realizing, unless you realize it yourself, it is not self-realization. And there is this concern of programming. If I were to tell you the effects of heroin, I am programming you to expect the effects that heroin will have upon you. And you don't actually need to trust me even to have it affect you, the mind. Once the mind has heard something or experienced the hearing of something or been told something, it will adopt it. It will try it. It will test it for you, with you. And if you're gullible to believe it, it will settle at that. Okay, this is it. That is it. It was right. I don't need to consider anything further because it was correct. And so concluding, it's not a good thing. Don't ever conclude anything. If you conclude a thing, you will conclude that is as far as it can be taken. And I have found that interacting, espousing, there's an that I've probably made a few actually. I haven't been aware of my that's a thing that and at this point, Anthony has said too many words, too often, hasn't been focusing on. The point is interaction. I know the point is interacting in the wider YouTube community, politely said, though Anthony culturally represents it as a school yard with a school in it, and the playground is full of children. If you conclude, you will conclude, and you will not be able to consider it further. Conclude, to come or bring to an end. Well, there you go. From the Latin concludere, from claudere, to close. There's another what I found was, after reaching conclusions of considerations, deep considerations that I was having within myself and therefore in the mind, though not aware of the mind entetically as such at that time, in fact not aware of the mind as anything other than me. I thought I was the mind, though there was no separation between me and the mind I thought I was. I inherently considered it a part of me. So what I discovered was the time is nearly run out on this vlog. Once I expounded my conclusions to another, I moved it so far on I couldn't understand how I had actually reached the conclusion. The conclusions I reached were deeply considered. This must be how it is. Then expounding the conclusion to another, interacting that is, I discovered I moved it so far on I could not understand how I had managed to believe I had reached a conclusion. Thank you.